Hey, I want to do a reading for you today. I pulled some cards that came out, and I'm going to go ahead and show them to you in advance, and I'm going to let you see them first, and then I'm going to read through what I went and studied, and then as I read what I've studied, I'll hold it up so you can remember. So the first card that I got was the Eight of Swords in reverse. The energy is of Jupiter in Gemini, where it currently is in the tropical system. Then we have the Three of Swords with Saturn in Libra energy. The Devil card with heavy Capricorn energy. Heavy is a word that you can associate with Saturn also. And then we got the Nine of Pentacles. This is Virgo energy with Venus. So we also got the Hermit in reverse. Again, a repeat of Virgo energy, and I just saw 111 as I said that, so maybe somebody's a Virgo. I mean, all the placements that I talked about, Capricorn, all those things, but to get Virgo 2 times in a row, the odds are that there's something about Virgo, so pay attention to any Virgo energies. Then we got the Seven of Pentacles. We have Taurus and Saturn energy, so that came in reverse. So I wrote down the shadow must be unwoven. Now, sometimes the shadow can be like a literal, the dark side of a situation that somebody's experiencing, or it could be the shadow self. So I wrote down what needs to be unraveled. So sometimes there is, imagine you're at a show and you're looking at the stage, and bands that play have what's called backdrops. And so imagine looking at a stage and just watching a backdrop just kind of fall from the trusses down to the stage. That's kind of an unraveling of something, or if something was tied up, something coming loose. So that it's almost like a release point. And then it says liberation from mental paralysis, which this card right here, the Eight of Swords with the Jupiter and Gemini. So Gemini is the thinking planet and Jupiter is the expansion, but when it's in reverse, that's where we're experiencing this energy. So I'm going to reverse it to the correct way so you can at least see it and notice the symbols as I talk. It says, see through the illusion of no options, or self-imposed limits, or false binaries or boundaries. The cage isn't real. A rewiring of how you see or your perception, and you've learned balance from injustice and boundaries through pain. Grief is the wound, and it's intellectualized but not yet integrated. A sacred heartbreak that still echoes. So that would move us into the Saturn in Libra energy. Karmic and sharp, but not in vain. A lot of times we go through something and we're just like, well, that was pointless. And this is saying this situation is not pointless. There is a point to it. It was not to be avoided, but to be honored as a sacred scar that proves that you felt deeply. And not because you failed, but because you tried to hold on to something that was not meant to be controlled, or something that was not meant to be held on to. And then we get to the power retrieved. I'm going to turn it correct so you can look at it correctly now. Desire reclaimed, chains questioned, breaking away from unhealthy relationships or bonds. The ghost of the situation that still lingers. So sometimes, obviously, when we go through something, just because it's technically over doesn't mean it's over. We're still processing. A painful honesty and questioning, why was I so drawn to this in the first place? So sometimes also we may ask ourselves, why did I have to go through this? So, but there's a structure within discovering freedom, or taking your power back, or learning what willpower is. And I underlined willpower. That was really hard for me to say. It says, not by brute force, but by sovereign choice. You can be loyal to yourself now. You don't have to trade, and I underlined trade. So there's, and obviously, like, currently I'm gonna box it in, trade. We're in a trade war also, so paying attention to a trade war of some sort, or you do not have to trade your essence to feel safe. So that's taking power back in some kind of way. And then, so here we have Nine of Pentacles in reverse, and I'm going to flip it over so you can look at it this way. Independence earned. You are ready or becoming someone who doesn't need external permission to feel worthy. So that's a sense of taking your own power back in a way of like, I don't need permission to exist. I don't need certain people's exception to feel like I am a valid thing in the universe. I don't need permission to exist. The energy of devotion and integrity, self-respect. What blooms, I underlined that, what blooms when the mind, heart, and will align, and you're not settling for less anymore, and I underlined less. So the words so far is willpower, trade, blooms, less. So, and perception and grief, I also underlined. So those words may be important to you. Okay, and then the Hermit in reverse. Are you still hiding out of fear of being misunderstood? And I laugh at that because I do that. I literally will like recoil from the internet sometimes because I guess the internet is a very raw and intimidating place, or a place of uncomfortability that I need to find comfortability in, and that makes me uncomfortable. And it says, it's not complete, and I underlined complete, until it's shared. So if you are not doing something, you're not sharing something, you're not doing something you're supposed to be doing, this is basically calling you out now. You're being asked to return to not a place of isolation, but to connect, to bring insight into a collective, which means you matter, what you're doing matters, and you can't let your bullies have the loudest voice in the room. Because remember, there's the 10% rule, right? 10% of people won't like you, no matter what you do. They just hate you for no reason. But 90% of the people are very supportive. Sometimes they have an energy of indifference or a lack of spontaneous approval, but a grand collective 90% will always care about you and support you, whether they say it or not. So remember, don't focus on the 10%. And I'm saying that to myself as I'm saying this to you, because I'm guilty of letting a 10% negativity rate still outweigh the 90% of positive. So if you do that, I see you. All right, so this is the 7 of coin. Flip it. All right. It says an assessment, an investment, patience. And I underlined that, especially because Saturn there, it means to wait. And Taurus is not a fast energy. Like, very stubborn, very slow to make decisions, movements, all kinds of things. But for, sometimes stubborn reasons, but for sometimes really good reasons. Like sometimes if you don't have all the information in advance, it's better to wait. You are painting or planting a long-term thing. that's not quite how I said it. You are planting long-term things. Try to read my own words back. Don't rush the fruit before it ripens. It still needs time to crystallize. You are not behind, you're cultivating a slow burn legacy. So then I rolled some dice. So I got, again, the Taurus energy. That, let me see if I can get it to focus. Hey there you go. Maybe, I don't know. All right, Taurus. So that energy came out. Again, Saturn. So we have repeat Saturn energy right now. Saturn is all about giving you some lessons right now. And then I got the 6th house. So I wrote notes down for what that could mean for you as far as a 6th house energy. Another thing is you no longer are caged in by your mind, no longer defined by your heartbreak, no longer chained to coping mechanisms. You are building clarity, devotion, and power. And when the time is right, you will invite others in, not to fix something, and I put in parentheses you, but to be with and witnessed in your becoming. Say no to situations that echo old cages. The importance of mental hygiene, and that's where the 6th house may come in, is because we're talking about health, right? And also habits, and especially in medical astrology, that basically the 6th house would be how things manifest in the physical form, in your physical body. So, and it's kind of like a manifestation energy. You know, what you think about, you bring about. So making sure that we're thinking about healthy things. Let grief be composted through embodiment and plant something in its place, which means anything that you've gone through, don't let it just be something that happened to you. Let it be something that you use to make things better in your own world. Like, take the lesson and integrate it rather than just a victim mentality. Pay attention to the cords of temptation. Pleasure without discipline becomes addiction, and discipline without pleasure becomes punishment. You need both. You need to be able to have pleasure and discipline, but you have to be able to know when you're going overboard with something, or in any context. But you can't do something, especially within the 6th house. That is a lot of times a place of our life purpose. So if there's something that you're doing that feels extremely important, and that is an energy of pleasure and a place of where you will be very disciplined, there's a tightrope, I guess, of energy of where we need to walk and make sure that we're doing it in the right ways, the right reasons, and all that kind of stuff. It says, show up for yourself with the same devotion you'd give a beloved client or partner. Start, don't wait, build something sustainable. Someone out there needs exactly what you haven't finished yet, which means that if you initiated it and you have the idea and you have like the beginning, but you don't know where to go from there, that's a good thing. That means that the person that you are going to invite into your life to help you with something, not because out of codependence or because I need them to complete something, it's because like sometimes we get to a point where what we're working on needs another mind introduced to it. Don't uproot the sprout to see if it's growing, which means be in a hurry, basically. Making money slowly is sacred. So sometimes we get irritated when we want that instant gratification, and this energy is slow, diligent, long-term, something reliable that's going to become a stable thing for you, rather than being in a hurry and causing yourself to make more mistakes than you needed to. Check in with your why, not your fear. So instead, if you feel fear, immediately ask yourself why. Why am I scared? because fear is anticipated in the future, which means that sometimes the things that you fear don't even come to fruition. So when you are scared, ask yourself why, and then see what yourself comes up with, and then you have to question it. Is this real? Is this a genuine place? Is this something that I need to listen to, or is this just a fear that's deterring me or putting me in a place of of inaction? With root, with rhythm, and with reference. Do not chase, become. Do not fight, craft. And then I had pulled the Four of Wands, and this is called Triangulum. This is basically a constellation where it does appear that the energy around this one kind of gets like a little bit dark, and then you can see like a perfect triangle in the sky. And then it's also under the Four of Clubs energy. So I wrote down intention is aligned, the earning of stability, claim things out of joy and not of fear. Let celebration be your structure. So this card, the Four of Clubs, is like in an astrology chart, the fourth house, where we have to, like, basically you can't build your house on sand and expect it to have a sound structure and stay. You know, there's it's talking about the stability or the foundation of something. And you can't build a solid foundation and a beautiful house on unstable ground. The blueprint to purpose. Don't get stuck in comfort zones. It is a rite of passage, and it's a discovering a foundation for future joy, a sign of fruitful creation after disruption. And I wrote down here a triangle of clarity in the chaos of stars. Things that repeat in threes, Trinity, manifestation. It is like the body, mind, and spirit, the past, present, and the future. It's manifestation and direction. It's under the energy of fire and aspirations, masculine energy and transformation. It wants you to focus and focus on something that becomes reliable and stabilize where discipline meets desire. So whoever this resonates for, slow and steady wins the race. There's magic in the slow dance. Don't be in a hurry. And if, you know, the devil card normally can speak about power struggles. So wherever you're experiencing a power struggle, or you did, this is the energy that it's bringing up for you to process. So I hope this was helpful and insightful, and that somebody in the universe appreciates this. Bye guys, have a good day.